people with liberty and justice for all.
I didn't think about that.
Thank you. Welcome to our May 16th meeting. Please note the council is in full attendance. April. First item on the agenda is items from council. I have a couple, but council, anyone? Okay. Well, I want to welcome all our visitors in the back. Y'all didn't have to sit in the back, by the way. You can. I want to, council, we need to move F2 up before we get into ordinances. We have some people, I believe, that may have traveled here. Okay, so we're going to do F2, but we'll do the proclamation before that. We also, do we still need to pull E4? Is that correct?
Yes, if we can move E4 to the next agenda, that would be appreciated.
Okay, so resolution E4, we want to pull and move that. There's still some work that needs to be done on that.
And then I need to move my city manager report on the Victoria Parks Improvement Association to the 6th.
Okay, so basically F3, we will not do. You want to
Move it to
postpone
the
that to
6th.
the 6th of June?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. On the other E5 and 6, or 4 for that matter, if anyone wants to go to executive session, we can at any point. If you just, even when we get to the point of those items, if you feel like you want to talk about them in executive session, you can. I know we have already, but just know that. Okay, I want to make sure, all right, pull, we're going to move F2 up, and I think that's it. So let's, no items from council? No other items? Okay, we'll go ahead and do the proclamation. And the city attorney's going to read that. Do you guys want to come up front for, okay, I'm going to come down there with the proclamation.
This is a proclamation signed by Mayor Paul Plasek, and it reads in part, whereas motorcyclists are roughly unprotected and therefore more prone to injury or death than crash in other vehicles' drivers, whereas campaigns have helped inform riders and motorists alike on motorcycle safety issues and to reduce motorcycle-related risks, injuries, and most of all fatalities through a comprehensive approach to motorcycle safety. And whereas it is important to urge all citizens of our community to become aware of the inherent danger involved in operating a motorcycle, and for riders and motorists alike to give each other the mutual respect they deserve. Now therefore, I, Paul Plasek, Mayor of the City of Victoria, Texas, do hereby proclaim the month of May as Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Month in Victoria, Texas, and urge all residents to do their part to increase the safety and awareness in our community. And it is signed by Mayor Paul Plasek on this, the May 16th date.
We're supposed to do that.
We would like to thank the mayor and city council for presenting May
Motorcycle and Safety Awareness Proclamation in beautiful downtown Victoria. May Motorcycle Awareness Campaign is a national campaign, so on behalf of the Coalition of Clubs and Independent Riders of Region 8, based out of Corpus Christi, we appreciate the proclamation. Thank you.
I want to take a quick break and go take a picture with them.
Go ahead.
All right.
Frank, I could run upstairs and check my email if you don't have it here.
I forgot.
I love the proclamation. Rolling thunder.
Yes. You're gonna think it's starting to rain outside.
No, hide your solar panel. You think you're gonna get a tax credit, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, we got any pension.
This week's hit, and we got something tonight. I don't think I have anything tomorrow night. Some banquet Thursday night. Pool party Friday night. Theater production Saturday afternoon. Theater banquet Saturday night.
Oh, wow.
And then the younger one has stuff starting next week.
I've worked on one master's, I've worked.
Actually, it's so sweet.
Mm.
I mean, with the grandkids, and we go to all of their stuff, and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
If
When
they
I had
dish it out, they can sure take
our,
it.
a performance last night, I didn't get to go,
What's that?
You go back and shop.
so
I'm pretty much, probably about 70% where I should be.
it's neat to watch them grow up.
I may not ever make it to 100, according to Nancy's daughter. Her and I graduated from high school together. She told me, oh, it might be a year before you're all the way back. You may never get all the way back. I said, Nancy, I used to like you.
Bunch of group of guys. We're all supposed to go on this. Made up our own fishing tournament. About 20 of us to go fish this weekend. We never just all get together. I was helping out. I got the trophies already. Like, okay, we're not going. I said, we're gonna come to the dinner Friday night. It's like, yeah, I'll be there. My daughter came home. Dad, this boy invited me to this pool party, and I was like, okay, guess we're staying in town.
Got in here, moved in here.
Saturday,
She's
when's
so
the 20th,
nice.
but anyway,
She's
her 45th wedding anniversary.
so friendly.
We told the kids, we're gonna do it, thank you. We're
I
gonna
hadn't
go
seen,
down.
I hadn't seen it for
And George goes, you know what, we're just totally and then they can leave and we can stay here, and I said, yeah, right, so I don't know. It all depends, he may change his mind and wanna go out of town after all.
45.
45 years.
Is this on? Okay, it's
No,
on.
just 4, and then.
Thank you, everybody. They enjoyed the picture, and I know they all left, but it's really important, Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Month. And I hope everyone will be diligent when driving. I know I am, as someone who's ridden a motorcycle, not recently, but I have a lot of years. It's something to think about. So I was glad to have them. Let's see, so that's all our items from council, right?
Yes.
So we'll move into citizens' communication.
Did you want to do F2 real quick?
Oh, I'm sorry, we can do F2,
Yeah.
yes, so, city manager report F2.
Mayor, City Council, good evening. My name is Terry Stanfield. I'm the Chief of Police with the City of El Campo. And I'm also a member of the Texas Chiefs of Police Association. And I'm here today representing the association and the recognized police program. The Texas Police and Chiefs Association is made up of over 1,100 professional police chiefs throughout the state who are dedicated to improving the delivery of quality of police services. I am here this evening to present the Victoria Police Department with a certificate of re-recognition for continuing to maintain their compliance with the Texas law enforcement best business practices for law enforcement for the past 4 years. Several years ago, the Texas Police Association had developed a accreditation program for Texas law enforcement. Many of you know about accreditation programs for universities, hospitals. They are all programs of professional excellence and all require proof of compliance with the set professional standards. Ours is very similar. It's a voluntary program where agencies must prove they meet 168 standards, which are based on Texas law, Texas court decisions, and contemporary best practices for Texas Chiefs from the Texas Police Chiefs Association. These standards address a full range of law enforcement operations such as use of force, protection of citizen rights, vehicle pursuits, property and evidence management, patrol and investigative operations, and that's just to name a few. This program has become the new gold standard for professional law enforcement in Texas. Agencies across the state are working diligently to meet these requirements. Approximately 9 years ago, the Victoria Police Department was one of the very first in the state of Texas to become recognized, and it was not an easy task. The agency had to conduct a complete audit of all policies, procedures, and operations in order to meet these standards. Since that time, the agency has submitted annual reports that were reviewed to ensure they continue to meet the standards and continue to provide the citizens of Victoria with effective police service. In March of this year, 2 trained assessors from the police chiefs and command staff from other parts of the state of Texas came to Victoria and spent 2 days with an on-site assessment. These assessors interviewed staff, inspected facilities, operations, rode with field officers, and ensured compliance with all standards. Their report was then sent to the recognition committee, comprised of 9 active chiefs throughout the state of Texas. They reviewed the report and voted to award recognized status to Victoria. That vote was unanimous. During this process, the Victoria Police Department has once again proven that it meets or exceeds the best practices for professional law enforcement in Texas. Over the 2,400 law enforcement agencies in Texas, only 139 agencies have achieved recognized status, and only 58 of these have been re-recognized. This evening, we officially recognize the Victoria Police Department for their outstanding performance. And of course, what does this mean to your community? The recognition program assures both city management and the citizens of Victoria that their police department is operating in a manner that reflects the current best practices for Texas law enforcement. It means your police department is continuing to strive for professional excellence. It means your police department is one of the very best in the state. The certificate we present this evening is symbolic. While it is clearly the mark of professional excellence, the real value is the program, is the process they must complete to receive the certificate. And once again, this is not the end of the process. The department will continue to submit annual reports to assure continued compliance, and in 4 years, we'll be back for another on-site inspection to ensure the agency is continuing to comply with all standards. The Victoria Police Department is a leader in law enforcement in Texas, and you should be very proud of their accomplishments. And I have the certificate to present to Chief Craig. Congratulations.
I don't remember. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief and Chief.
I told the mayor I had a few comments to make. You know, we're always very proud of this accomplishment, but I've been around long enough, and I wanted to give a little history too. We were one of the first agencies in Texas to be awarded the CLIA accreditation back when it, you know, nationally was going. So this department has always held itself out to be a best practice department, and I was thankful because of the cost of CLIA when the Chiefs Association came around, and it was a great opportunity to continue those best practices. So this is a great program for that recognition, and we appreciate you coming over tonight to recognize us.
Sure, I'd like to add, my department just went through this about 4 years ago. Excuse me, allergies are getting to me, but the chief and his team, they really put a lot of effort into it to make it. It's really a difficult process, and I know they're working out of a data facility, which I was at the same time, and it takes a lot of resourcefulness to meet all of the requirements, so they've done a great job. Thank you again for letting me be here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that was F2. Then we'll move back into the regular agenda, into citizens' communication. So at this time, anyone who would like to come forward to speak about anything at all, just please give us your name and address for the record, and keep your comments to 5 minutes or less as a courtesy.
I'm John Cruz from 2505 North Navarra, and I'm here today to give you a little history of our efforts to get the hazmat material route changed in Victoria. This began back about 7 or 8 years ago with the local emergency planning committee that decided, since Highway 77 was now designated to go around Loop 463, that it was time to move it from Navarra to Loop 463. And we worked on that for several months, and we got up to the point to where we're working with the Texas Highway Department and other city officials. we got up to the point to where the next step was going to be to have a hearing with the property owners that fronted on Loop 463 or Highway 77 outside the city limits. That was out of our hands. I don't know whether the sheriff's department was in charge of that, but anyway, we kind of backed off and let it take its natural course. And its natural course was nothing happened. And about a year ago, we woke up to the fact that nothing had happened. We still had a hazmat route down Navarra. And so we started the process over again. During that time, while we were waiting, Jeb Lacey went back, who was head of the director of the LEPC, went back to Florida. And later on, Mary Craighead moved back to Chicago. So we kept losing our connections. And the LEPC started bringing this up at the MPO, the Municipal Planning Organization, to see if we could get this movement started again. And we worked on it. Diane Dome was our connection with the city. And we kept moving on it and moving on it. And finally, your city manager got tired of listening to me complaining about the lack of movement. And so she went on the internet and she found out that cities, a number of towns throughout our state don't even have a hazmat route, which was news to us. So now tonight, y'all will be discussing abandoning Navarra and not even having a hazmat route because most truckers are now going around 77 or Loop 463. So I want you to know that up until your city manager found this out, we were going to be spending $200,000 to $300,000 on signs to change it from Navarra to Loop 463. Some of that was going to be the county's responsibility, and they weren't enthused about that at all because it wasn't their problem. So because of this action I hope you're taking tonight, your city manager is going to save you parts of $300,000 for signage. So I appreciate your time and I hope you vote properly.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz, but I can't take credit for all of it.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. And I just want to say this, you're also, for all your input and involvement over the many years, you've been involved in a lot of things, and it's very appreciated. So you can complain all you want. It's okay. It's appreciated. Okay, citizens' communication is still open. If anyone else would like to come forward, now would be the time. Seeing no one, we'll close citizens' communication, and we have two ordinances without public hearing. So C1 is first.
C1 is an ordinance replacing Chapter 9.5 of the Victoria City Code to revise and update regulations pertaining to flood damage prevention, repealing all conflicting ordinances, providing for publication, enforcement, codification, and savings, and declaring an effective date.
Make a
Move we
motion to
adopt.
approve. Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. This is a public hearing.
No.
Without, I'm sorry, I'm reading above it. I do that all the time. Okay. Is there any discussion, council? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Those opposed, same sign. Okay, item passes. C2.
C2 is an ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute an operating agreement with Lyft Incorporated, authorizing Lyft to conduct transportation network operations within the city of Victoria, providing for savings, and declaring an effective date.
Council.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, we've discussed this enough. No amendments or anything? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign? Okay, ayes have it, thank you. We'll move to C3, which is what Mr. Cruz was talking about.
Item C3 is an ordinance repealing in its entirety Section 22-93 related to routes for trucks carrying hazardous materials from the City of Victoria Code of Ordinances, repealing all conflicting ordinances, providing for publication and savings, and declaring an effective date.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion second. We do need a public hearing on this one. Let me do that real quick. If there's anyone that would like to speak on this item again, or rather at all. Okay, seeing no one get up, we'll close the public hearing on C3. We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion?
Yes, this came before the MPO, as Mr. Cruz said. They had a very good, well, I'm trying to think of where it was at when I was reading this. Yes, I believe the write-up on C3 here was very well done.
Was.
It pretty well laid out the issues very clearly of what we were able to determine after messing with this for quite some time. So if anyone that hadn't read that, you might keep that just for reading.
What's interesting to me is not to say that signage isn't important, but we find out technology's routing these trucks and not signs. That's interesting. So, you know, something to think about. They were already routing around because of technology, so. Mr. Kaminsky, did you have anything to share?
I'm here to answer questions.
Okay. Any further discussion? Ms. Scott, you look like.
I was just going to say, some of this happened before my time on council, and I really appreciated the CM1. It was very well done. I agreed.
John did a good job.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. C4.
C4 is a resolution approving an amendment to the fiscal year 2015 through 19 Community Development Block Grant 5-Year Consolidated Plan and Strategy, authorizing the city manager to submit all required documentation to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and declaring an effective date.
Make a motion to adopt C4?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We do need to have a public hearing. Is there anyone that would like, we'll open the public hearing now. Anyone like to speak to C4 only? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. We have a motion and a second. Are there questions?
I have a couple of.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I know we're not building anything for Habitat for Humanity inside of the CDBG designated area. And this is for the next 3 years?
I think it's 3, isn't it, John? or
That's
4?
correct.
3.
Okay.
The remainder of this fiscal year and the next 3 fiscal years,
Right,
we
right.
don't anticipate Habitat having any lots in an eligible area for us to be able to assist them.
Okay. Okay, and then the code enforcement officer, that's not gonna affect the amount of, or the person, we're still gonna keep that person?
We moved his funding to the general fund this fiscal year, so because we knew this was going to happen. So,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so he's gonna be coming in the budget?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Is may I? I didn't.
No, go ahead.
Okay. The MAP funding, is that mortgage or down payment assistance on a
That's,
new? Okay,
yes, mortgage assistance.
okay.
But that's increasing it by that much, or?
Over the remainder of the 5-year period, it's increasing by that much. So
Okay.
in each of the coming 1-year action plans, we'll be able to put additional money into that program.
That's first-time home buyers.
Correct.
Right.
And realtors generally know about that program.
The
and they work
program
with-
really went almost dormant for a few years, and we had very little activity in it, but it's kind of resurfaced, and it's becoming popular again. So we do have a demand for those funds again.
What's our total, well, I don't have a total budget next year for the CDBG.
We don't. It's our understanding that sometime within the next 60 days, HUD San Antonio will find out what our allocation will be for next year. We expect it to be the same or less than what we have in this year's budget.
Okay.
And the year after that, it's anybody's guess.
Yeah, and I mean, I know it's threatened completely, the entire
Yes, sir.
program, so, okay.
What do you mean by the public infrastructure improvement?
Those could be park projects, they could be sidewalk projects, streetlights, any of those infrastructure type activities within eligible CDBG areas.
Okay.
They won't be identified until the 1-year action plan for the given year that they will be undertaken in.
Was the sidewalk on Salem CDBG?
It was.
It has, yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole amount that you're reprogramming is to be divided over the next 3 years? So
That's
it's like-
correct.
Okay.
This is just the total amount of money that we project having throughout the 5-year planning window.
Okay, any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, item passes. We'll do our consent agenda.
There are three items on the consent agenda tonight. They are first, the approval of minutes of the regular meeting of May 2nd, 2017. Second, a resolution authorizing the city manager to apply for an extension to the Automobile Burglary and Theft Prevention Authority grant for fiscal year 2018, which requires a $45,972.99 cash and in-kind match from the city, designating the city manager as the authorized official to approve the grant, designating Detective Jeff Parsons as the program director for the grant, designating Director of Finance Gilbert Rainett Jr. CPA as the financial officer of the grant, and declaring an effective date.
I move to adopt.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that's a consent agenda, so E1.
Mayor, I apologize. I did not read item 3 on the consent agenda list. I only read 2 of the 3, so
You
let's
sounded
take
like you
up
were done.
D3 separately.
Either so.
Nobody stopped me.
Sorry. We're looking ahead
I
already.
stopped you.
So D3 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a professional services agreement with HDR Engineering Incorporated for engineering design services for the US 77 and Millette Drive traffic signal project in the amount of $42,000 and declaring an effective date.
I move to adopt.
Second?
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. You know, that's the first time that's happened ever, so our
Don't drop your
minds,
voice so much next time. I'm usually reading, but.
that's okay. Our minds are ahead, I think.
So don't take a breath.
Yeah, if I read faster, you can't keep up with me, and then I can just say whatever I want.
All right, so we'll go to E1 now.
E1 is a resolution appointing 3 board members to the Victoria Development Commission and declaring an effective date.
So move.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or questions on this one?
Well, Mayor, we have 3 blanks in that resolution that need to be filled, appointing 3 individuals to that board.
Okay,
What did we just move to
I'll be happy.
adopt?
Yeah.
yeah. We just kind of expected that.
So is the motion
three-
to fill in the names of Josephine Solis, Dr. Andrew Young, and Jeff Bachnight in those 3 blanks?
I seconded.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I think that's an effective clarification of the motion.
Although I didn't make the motion, who made the motion? Maybe I did.
Ms. Solis did, but
Ms. Elise did, and then, okay.
during
Yeah,
discussion.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing here. We'll be the same 3 members of council will remain on that board.
But we're challenging April.
Have you ever met? I don't know that, I know that board is there for a reason, but we don't. Yeah, weekly, no. You collect a paycheck for that one later, huh? Yeah. Okay, well, thank you, council members. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. E2.
Item E2 is a resolution accepting settlement from the Texas Farm Bureau Insurance Company for a claim on behalf of the city in the amount of $30,000, authorizing the city manager to execute all documents necessary to finalize the settlement and declaring an effective date.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Another well-written CM1. We appreciate that.
Thank you. I'm
Explains that well.
prepared to answer any questions.
Any questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that passes. E3.
Item E3 is a resolution finding that AEP Texas Incorporated's application to amend its distribution cost recovery factors to increase distribution rates within the city of Victoria should be denied, finding that the city's reasonable rate case expenses shall be reimbursed to the company, finding that the meeting at which this resolution is passed is open to the public as required by law, requiring notice of this resolution to the company and to legal counsel, and declaring an effective date.
So move.
Second.
Any questions?
I mean, I think this is worded correctly, but it seems like this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to move because this is saying to deny it.
To deny
Yes,
the, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Under state law, the utility is allowed to file for this rate increase, and it goes into effect automatically unless the city denies it.
See?
If we deny it, then we have the opportunity to negotiate a negotiated rate at something lower than what they have proposed. So the first step is for us to deny it. We are part of a coalition of cities. There's 40 cities or so in the coalition, and collectively, our council has negotiated on our behalf, and AEP has already agreed in principle to reduce the rate. And so as soon as we finish denying this, the coalition will agree with AEP for the reduced rate.
Thank you. I think it said all that, but I just was having trouble following it, so I appreciate hearing it.
I agree with you. It's a complicated logical circle.
They still get a rate increase, but it'll be later.
That's right.
Yeah.
They,
Reduced from what they proposed, not from what we're paying right now.
that's correct.
Okay.
It will be a smaller increase.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's going to come back to us to vote on again, right? Or not? Or does it just become automatic?
I don't think.
I don't believe it comes back to us again. I think that at that point, once we have agreed with them, it goes forward to the PUC to be approved.
Okay.
But I could be wrong about that. I'll look into it and double check for you.
Okay.
Because that's kind of what you were saying, that they would submit something, and if we don't deny it, that it would
Then it's automatic.
ought to
Right.
be automatic, so it wouldn't come back.
Okay. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay. So we're pulling E4, E5 and E6. Any reason for executive session? No, I don't think so. Okay. No. So we'll go to E5.
In E5, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an unimproved property contract for the purchase of 5.41 acres of real estate from Barbara B. Diebel Family Limited Partnership and declaring an effective date.
Make a motion to approve E5.
Second.
We have a motion, second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay. E6.
Mayor, before I read E6, I'd like to propose an amendment to it. There is a mathematical error in the resolution. The dollar figure there is 15,700, something, I have to turn pages to get the exact dollar figure, sorry. $15,700. However, there are two tracts of land. The second tract is .1182 of an acre, and that was not included in the calculation. The price was based on $12,000 per acre. And so I'm going to recommend that we amend that resolution to be a purchase price in the amount of $16,418.40 plus closing costs. So with that change, this is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an unimproved property contract for the purchase of a 1.25 acre tract and a 0.1182 acre tract of real estate from Salem Crossing Limited and declaring an effective date.
Okay. Do you need one of us to amend it or?
The clearest thing to do, since that is not in the caption, would be to get a motion and a second, and then an amendment and a second.
Okay, so we have a motion, don't we?
Not yet.
We didn't? Okay, I'm sorry.
Make a motion to approve E6.
Second.
Okay. Now we
Make a
need
motion to amend item E6 to have it read in the amount of $16,418.40 instead of the $15,700.
So the extra 700, oh, I'm sorry. We need a second to that.
Second.
Thank you. So the extra $700 roughly is for the .1182?
That's correct.
Is that a little piece across the street or across the proposed street?
No, I believe there are adjoining tracts that are split into two parcels. I'd have to go
Okay,
back to the
okay.
drawing to
I'm fine.
confirm that. But no, they're not geographically separate from each other.
Okay.
They're adjoining.
I was just, the reason I asked, I was looking at the map earlier and,
Yeah, it's a corner.
oh, you have it in there, okay. Oh, I see. Okay. So we have a motion and a second on the,
On the
to
amendment.
amendment. And Mr. Reese, I'm sorry, I did not ask if you had anything to add. Okay,
Any questions you may have?
okay.
As a point of order, should you be recused?
I'm waiting for
Oh,
him to call
sorry.
for discussion.
She mentioned that earlier. So is there any discussion?
I need to say that legally, I am not required to abstain, but as the attorney for the developer, I'm ethically required to abstain, so I will abstain from voting.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. Okay, any other discussion on the motion to amend? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, and then one abstention. All right, so we're back to the motion to adopt. Is there any discussion?
My continuing abstention.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Any other discussion on E6 as amended? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, and then one abstention. Okay, E7.
E7 is a resolution awarding the Water Tower Number 5 Pump Station and Water Treatment Plant Number 4 demolition project to Veritas Management Company LLC, doing business as Black Castle General Contractor, for their low bid of $978,700, authorizing the city manager to execute all documents necessary to complete the project and declaring an effective date.
I move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And which water tower again? The one by East High School?
Yes, sir. Pump station at Tower 5.
So
by
the
East High School.
tower is coming down?
No, no.
No.
The pump station will be added on site at Tower 5. The water plant 4 will be taken down as part of this project and demolished. And that is at the corner of Huvar and Dairy. And then that
Okay.
property, once it's demolished, can be put back up for sale and possibly on the tax roll.
So the pump station, you said, the one next to the tower? I know the
We're gonna-
Hoover, I know where that's at.
Donald, kind of explain the pressure plane and what's going on with this, please?
Well,
Sure, so,
it's okay.
would you like me to explain?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Yes, please.
So, the city has a north and a south pressure plane, which right now is basically split at Loop 463. In order to draft water to the north pressure plane, we have two options. One is a high service line on the west side of town, and the other is to pump it over to water plant number 4 at Dairy and Huvar. And then again, we have to pump it again from there into the water tower. I believe it's water tower 4 over by kind of there by Walmart. It's a very inefficient process. You have to lift that water twice, and in that process, you lose about 180 feet of head. So what this project will do is allow us to pump that water from Plant 3, and we'll still pump it twice, but it won't be nearly as inefficient. We'll only lose about 30 feet of head. And we can, in the process, we can demolish Plant 4 because we won't need it anymore. Part of that plant's not being used as it is. The steel tank over there is not being used, and the aeration tower is not being used. So that tower has become, or that plant has become a maintenance hog, and spending a lot of time. It's aging, and we're having to spend a lot of time on maintenance on that plant.
So once we get that property clear, we'll put that on we will ask y'all permission to sell that piece of property. We
Sure.
think it's very valuable property
Yes.
sitting at Huvar that we can sell, so.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Very good.
Mr. Reese,
Yes, sir.
I noticed that this does, of course, have the Dairy Road project. The two water tanks
Yes, sir.
and the aerator,
Yes.
but there's also a small office building there. That will also go?
I believe that office has already been taken down, if I'm not.
It was a metal building, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Tan?
I'm sorry?
Tan metal building? I think.
No, it's a
Wasn't it
brick
brick?
building.
Okay.
With an overhead door and,
It'll all come down. That's just part of the pumping facility. That's where the motors and pumps are. And that's-
Okay.
It's a brick building.
I'm sorry, I know which one you're talking about. I thought you were referring to the old office building over there that's already been
Well,
torn
it's
down.
very
Yeah, you're-
small, yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, that will be part of the demo project. You're absolutely right.
okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
It's got pumps in it, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I
It's got
think
pumps in it?
There's no
Yes.
value in trying to keep any of the structures.
No.
No, the structures,
generally-
there's no value, and
It's a
we,
good-
we will try to save whatever pumps and motors that we can out of there. Anything that's got any value, we have first right of salvage.
Right. Well, I have no doubt you guys would do that.
Oh, yeah.
You got a great big yard to put it in over there,
Yes,
so.
we do. We'll be
Excellent.
taking what we can use.
Okay, very good. I do appreciate the explanation. It's good for the public watching, so. Okay, any further questions or discussions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that passes. Thank you. So, city manager reports, we do have one item. Ms. Hilberg, you want to?
Mayor and council, there are two members of the Board of Health whose appointments will expire in June 2017. The members, Dr. Daniel Cano and Robin Machalka, I probably butchered that name, I'm sorry, have both expressed a desire to be reappointed, and both are eligible to serve another term. I have also included 2 other applications for appointment for your review, Eric B. Leonard and Melissa S. Lewis, who have expressed interest in serving on that board. So we can bring back a resolution either with the blanks like we did today and a ballot so that you can vote on it, or if you choose to reappoint the 2 that are currently serving. I will remind you that the board does require 3 members to be qualified licensed practicing physicians. And Dr. Kano is filling one of those required positions currently.
I'd kind of like, if those 2 are willing to continue, I'd like
Yeah.
to see that personally. Council, do y'all have a consensus on that, or,
That's fine.
I agree with that.
okay, maybe bring it back with those 2 names?
Thank you.
And if there's
I
anything
appreciate,
at that evening, you'll handle it. Mr.
appreciate Mr. Leonard and Ms. Lewis's willingness to serve.
Agreed, yeah, no doubt about that.
Well, hang on to those applications. They
Oh, yeah.
have some other places listed too.
Well, Ms. Lewis is serving on our Parks Board right now.
Okay.
So I believe that concludes everything on our agenda?
does. Yes,
All
sir.
right, we're adjourned, thank you.